I travel with different friends. I travel with a partner. I travel with my dogs. I travel with myself. Or people, I've done group travel to where I've traveled with people I've never met before and made great friends through travel. Nice. I went to Mexico a few months ago, and me and 12 girls rented an Airbnb. We stayed in the seashell house. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a house that is a seashell. And we never met each other. And they came from all around the world. And we just had a great time.
Oh my gosh.
So I've done really great trips like that too.
Wow.
Just meeting people from different cultures again and sharing a trip together.
Hi, I'm Kim Tolson and I'm the traveling therapist. It's my passion to teach therapists how to navigate online private practices and multiple income streams so they can travel the world. I'm a digital nomad with a virtual insurance-based private therapy practice and a multi-six-figure coaching business. I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship and developing tools that can help therapists live an adventurous lifestyle. In this podcast, I will discuss my journey as a digital nomad. I'll chat with other traveling therapists and help you navigate the complexities of running an online insurance-based practice. I'm so glad to have you with me on this journey. Building a private practice can be challenging. I know for me, when I was starting out, I had no idea how to get referrals. I had no idea how to manage paperwork. I knew nothing about insurance billing. The whole process was really daunting. Building a private practice can be challenging, to say the least. I remember when I was starting out, I had no idea how to get referrals. I had no idea how to navigate insurance. I had no idea even what paperwork was required. So growing a caseload, navigating insurance, and managing billing and paperwork all take significant amounts of time. And that's all in addition to delivering great care to your clients. That's why Alma gives clinicians the tools they need to build a thriving private practice. When you join their insurance program, you can get credentialed within 45 days and access to enhanced reimbursement rates. They also handle all the paperwork from eligibility checks to claim submissions, and they guarantee payment within 2 weeks of each appointment. So in addition to their insurance program, Alma also offers time-saving tools and administrative support, so you can spend less time on paperwork and more time delivering great care to your clients and traveling the world. Learn more about building a thriving private practice with Alma at helloalma.com/Kim. That's helloalma.com/KYM to get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Traveling Therapist Podcast. I'm really excited today to have Christy Jordan here with us. So I didn't know Christy before this, but I saw her in the Traveling Therapist Facebook group, always posting and sharing stuff. And I think one day she posted about a journal. Would you call that a journal, Christy, that you wrote?
Yeah, it's like an interactive workbook.
Like an interactive workbook. Yeah, I saw her posted in the Facebook group and I was like, this is so cool. And then, of course, I'm Googling, I'm exploring. I'm like, this woman is awesome. She's like the epitome of a traveling therapist. So I messaged her and asked her to come on to the podcast to share her story. So Christy, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. And I usually just start out with the question, how did you go from becoming a traditional therapist to a traveling therapist? What led you down this path? And let's talk about you and your story.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And great question. But I think travel has always just been a part of my life. It's always been a passion. So just joining travel and therapy and creating a lifestyle and a career out of it has really just brought both of my passions together. So I think it's always just been a journey. Travel has always been a part of my life. So it's just expanded over time. But I've taught classes in other countries. I've done things in different states as well. So I think, again, it's just been something that's evolved over time, but they've always been two passions and tracks that I've been on.
That's amazing. And I was reading your bio before we hopped on this call, and I think it said you've been in 15 countries in the last 6 months.
Yes. So I'm kind of on a roll.
Can you tell us about that? Just like what's driving you to go to all these different countries? Are you kind of living like me, like a digital nomad, or is it work and speaking engagements? Like what's taken you all these places in the last 6 months? So curious.
It's It's a little of both. I think once I get to a country, it's so easy to go to multiple countries. So I tend to just lump like a lot of countries in one trip just to take advantage of the location, so to say. So in Europe, I did 5 countries, and then I just went to the Middle East a couple weeks ago and did 5 countries there as well. So for me, I'm going to take one long flight and then I'm going to do a lot of exploring before I come back. So that's kind of how I pack it all together, and just exploring different cultures and getting to see other ways of life is really important to me. I think it helps me as a therapist. I think it helps me in relationships and just personally as well. So I think every culture that I get to explore traveling really just opens up new ways of living and thinking, and it's just beneficial to me and everyone around me.
Yeah, nice. Now, do you have a home base, or are you more of a digital nomad and you just go from place to place?
Both.
Okay.
Around this time, like I said, it's kind of just been an upward slope. So right now, no, I'm fully digital.
Oh, awesome. Okay, nice. So
Yeah.
I know before we hit record, you had said you were in Florida. Do you have like an actual home in Florida, or do you just live like me, like kind of like Airbnbs and hotels and that sort of thing? Like how are you navigating that stuff?
I do trusted house sitters. I know you've talked about that on other podcasts as well.
Wonderful. Yes.
So I do them almost full time.
Wow.
And then when I'm doing travel outside of the trusted house sitters, so when I went to Europe, I did trusted house sitters. And then outside of that, I use a lot of points. So I'm a travel point enthusiast.
I love it. Yes.
So yeah, as far as the points will take me, that's as far as I'm going to go. And so far, it's taken me very far.
That's amazing. Yeah. Would you talk about trusted house sitters? Because I don't think I've actually had somebody on the podcast that really does that. I mean, I've kind of touched on it with people, but how does that work for you? I mean, just maybe you could tell the audience just about it and what it is and how it works a little bit.
Yeah. So trusted house sitters, it's a platform that I use. Essentially, to me, I explain it like it's free Airbnb. Essentially, most of the places that I stay are Airbnbs, and they just need other things taken care of while I'm here. That sometimes they do their Airbnb is running on the property, attached from the house, or they need to check the mail, check packages, make sure the pool is clean. Sometimes there's pets. So it really just depends on the need. Out of the country, sometimes they just want kind of a human in the house, so it doesn't look like a vacant property. So I think people are on it for many different reasons, and I'm just naturally a caretaker, and I love giving to others anyways. I'm sure that ties into most therapists, but and it is a free service, so it's an even exchange. So I think a lot of people ask me like, well, why would you do it for free? Like you could get paid and do the same thing, which is true. But I think I'm not really doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the experience. Same with like traveling. For me, you get to travel like a local. You get to be in a local home. You get to explore like a local.
Wow.
Some include vehicles. So it includes the vehicle as well. So for me, it's a great package just to attach to travel.
That's amazing. Do you have to pay a fee to be like on the list, like their directory for a trusted house sitter, or? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
They have different, packages, but I think it's around $50 a year.
That's not
but
bad
it's
at all.
not bad at all. No.
Yeah.
And then you get airport lounge passes with the membership, and you get insurance, which I've actually utilized before. So if the sitter cancels for some reason, or they change their plans, they cover up hotel stays up to $1,500. So if the sitter cancels, you still go and have a great hotel stay.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I need to look into it again. So every time it's not pets, right? It can be many things is what I'm hearing you say. Because I always thought it was like just pet sitting, basically. Okay.
Yeah, there's like in the search tool, you can say no pets, and it'll just show you house sitting with no pets, like if that's your preference.
Man, I need to go sign up for that. I really do. I don't know why. I'm allergic to cats. So I was always like, I'm just going to not do that. But I need to look at it
Yeah.
again, hearing you say that you could filter out. I didn't realize you could do that, honestly.
Yeah, you can
That's
filter
so cool.
out. And sometimes like I've
Gosh.
seen people, they're trying to sell their house, so they just want someone there. Like if there's a showing that comes up. So there's so many different reasons like why people are on there besides pets. So
That is so cool. And then you pay
Yeah.
for your own transportation, like a flight or
Yes.
your own vehicle to get there. Wow, that's really
Mhm.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were going to talk about this today, but I find it so interesting.
Yeah, it is an interesting topic.
Yeah. How long have you been doing the trusted house sitters?
2 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And is it like really consistent for you, or are there lag times in between, or have you been able to manage it pretty consistently?
It's pretty consistent. So I've had quite a
Oh.
few like back to back to where it was like a smooth schedule, like not even a day in between, or I'll have repeat people
Wow.
contact me and ask me to come back. So yeah, it's been a really positive experience.
That is so cool. I could just totally talk to you about this the whole time. I have so many questions.
Yes.
Okay, but there is other stuff I want to ask you about because I just found your bio so interesting. So you're doing the trusted house sitters, but you're also like you do speaking engagements and stuff, right? Like, do you travel around the world doing speaking and that sort of thing? Like, do you try to coordinate your travels with speaking gigs, or is it the other way around? You get a speaking gig and then you try to figure out a like trusted house sitter place there. Like, how do you navigate all that stuff?
Yeah, if I got a speaking engagement, I would book everything after. So I wouldn't book
Okay.
travel and then look for a speaking engagement. But people usually contact me for a speaking engagement, and then I can kind of see if that location is a good fit.
Yeah, wow. That's really interesting. So what are your topics that you talk on? I read your bio, but I think the audience would love to know too. And I would just love to hear about, how did you decide to become a speaker and really put yourself out there in this expertise that you have? I'd love if you could talk about that a little bit, like that, what that process was like for you.
Yeah, most people contact me through my website or Psychology Today or Google. So I've never honestly reached out for a speaking engagement or applied for one. They kind of just come randomly on different topics. So the main topic that I do speaking engagements for is human trafficking. So I do work a lot with human trafficking. That's my biggest passion. And outside of human trafficking, I've done numerous things like self-esteem or relationships, or if it's like conferences based on those topics, or things that come up in the news like shootings or community tragedies, domestic violence. News anchors will contact me to have a therapist speak on these certain topics. So really it's been kind of random topics.
Really
and
cool.
They just need a therapist or an expert to speak on certain things.
Mhm.
But I would say human trafficking and mass shootings are usually like the top
Wow.
topics that I would discuss for speaking.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So people reach out to you, like journalists and whatnot, to come speak on these topics. I guess on your website, you have like what do you call it? Like a CV of like speaking engagements you've done before. And I guess Google works great and people find you and then they say, hey, come speak. And you say, okay. And you just then arrange to travel around it.
Yeah, that's usually how it is.
Yeah. Where all has it taken you? Like what different countries, mainly the United States, or just all over the place with?
Yeah, mainly the United States. I've done some trainings outside of the United States. I did classes in Africa where I taught teenage girls, and that was more, I would compare it maybe to like sex ed in the US. So they just had lots of questions they wanted to ask about relationships and intimacy and just lots of different things that, again, like culturally are very different than here. So I've done different things like that where, again, I don't even know if I knew where it was going to take me, but they were just very engaging. So I've done different things like that to where, it's taken me to other countries as well out of the States and Mexico too, with teenagers and children who were in orphanages or foster care, and just teaching on different subjects.
Amazing. So is that kind of your niche, like that sort of stuff, and the human trafficking niche, or is that just like a passion project and you do that on the side? I guess I'm wondering, like, do your clients, have they been through a human trafficking situation? Is that sort of a niche of a client population you work with? Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't put that on my bios, to be honest. I work on the other side as well. I work with sex addiction. I work on the buyer side. Those clients find me online, but I am connected with different organizations who I work with the survivors directly as well, providing therapy or, and just talking about like different countries and different cultures. When there's big stings, there's a lot of immigration involved and certain things like that, I'll go on site for those types of things to where, again, they just need a therapeutic voice in the midst of kind of a traumatic experience. And, you know, I just kind of represent, you know, I'm not the police. I'm not anyone who's like gonna put you in any type of danger or legal trouble. So I kind of just serve in those type of intense situations. That's just kind of a person who is there for therapeutic purposes.
Wow. So different organizations like the Red Cross or something, they're familiar with you and then they call you in for this type of thing, or like how would somebody get involved in that if they wanted to do that type of, you know, work? But then also, I mean, I guess it's tragedy, but it's also a way to travel too if you're being called to these different places where things are happening. So I just so curious, like how'd you get involved in that, and how do the opportunities still come up for you now today?
I work directly with United Abolitionists. So they're a human trafficking organization. They're national. They work international as well. They work directly with the FBI and law enforcement. So law enforcement and the FBI will call them directly, say like, this is happening, or we're going to this place at this time, or someone just called. I did run the human trafficking hotline for many years. So they would just call directly. So it's kind of like 911 crisis for human trafficking. So they will call in directly. Again, just like crisis management, de-escalation, and then figuring out in-person services from there.
Wow, that is so interesting. I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but of course I've seen in the bathrooms, like if you're being trafficked, you know, call this number. So I guess that's who they call, was the hotline that you ran, and then you try to coordinate getting them out, getting them help and rescue from that. Wow.
Yeah. No, I love the bathroom signs. Actually, every time I see them, I'm like, yes. But yeah, a lot of those are in the airports. A lot of those are in travel locations. So again, if someone's calling from an airport, I might go to the airport in that moment, or kind of as a first responder. But again, not law enforcement related. A lot of people in human trafficking, they don't want the police coming. We don't call the police unless they want to take legal action later. But usually they're calling the hotline because they don't want to call 911 or they don't want to call law enforcement. So we kind of serve as that middle area, as it's a safe place, or, you know, we're going to send someone, you know, you're talking to on the phone. So if they talk to me on the phone, sometimes I will meet them in person. But again, that could be at the airport, bus stop, you know, it's all tied into travel somehow, because they're always in movement too, where they'll say, you know, I'm getting on this Greyhound bus, this is the number, and then we'll track the bus.
Wow.
Going in network with insurance can be tough. For example, waiting a year to get credentialed in some cases. Filing all the right paperwork is time consuming and tedious, and even after you're done, it can take months to get credentialed and start seeing clients. That's why Alma makes it easy and financially rewarding to accept insurance. When you join the insurance program, you can get credentialed within 45 days and access to enhanced reimbursement rates. They also handle all the paperwork, from eligibility checks to claim submissions, and they guarantee payment within 2 weeks of each appointment. Once you've joined Alma's insurance program, you can see clients in your state of licensure, regardless of where you're working from. This is particularly exciting for me as a traveling therapist, as I know it is probably for you too. You can literally be anywhere and still see your clients through Alma. Learn more about building a thriving private practice with Alma at helloalma.com/Kim. That's helloalma.com/KYM to get started.
So yeah, a lot of transportation coordinating, flight coordinating, certain things like that. But yeah, lots of airport involvement too.
Wow, that is amazing. So they'll call the hotline and you or somebody involved in there will just literally book a flight and meet them wherever they say they're going to land and try to rescue them at that point, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that does that ever feel dangerous? Like the traffickers? I'm so curious about
No. Yes. That's a great question. Everyone asks that question. I've never
Yeah.
felt in danger. No. So again, I think it just moves so fast. The priority is their survivor, and even financially, like we're not going to say, oh, let me check the budget. Let me see if I can book a flight. It's like, hey, let's book the flight. Like we'll figure
Yeah.
this out later, but like your safety is the priority, and then we'll figure out all that later behind the scenes. But if we can
Wow.
just get you to a safe location, even if that's just another airport, out of state, at least you're in movement to some sort of area that's not where you feel unsafe currently.
Wow, that is amazing. So you're not doing the hotline anymore, but you ran that for a long time. And now you just
Yeah.
go around and speak
Yeah.
about it and try to educate other helpers, I guess, learn more about that. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
if anybody's listening, reach out to Christy. Gosh, that is
Yeah.
such important work. I mean, I don't know the statistics on that, but I know it's like rampant, like the human trafficking. I mean, it's just got to be I don't know, so intense working in that field, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
Oh
for
my
sure.
gosh. Wow, that is amazing. Okay. So what else can we know about you in your life? Do you have a private practice also? Like, do you have private clients?
Yeah.
Or okay, how does that work for you? Like, what kind of caseload do you carry? Are they, private pay, insurance? Just curious how you manage that being in different countries and that sort of time zones, all of that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I do have a private practice, and I've had a private practice, I want to say 7 years now, and primarily self-pay. And there is some insurances, and I manage that. If I'm in a very distant time zone, I won't see clients, and just based on my own well-being. But if there's not much of a time zone difference, and I coordinate my schedule with my travel schedule, so to say. So even if I go on a lengthy trip, I would usually see clients Monday, Tuesday, leave on Wednesday, and then I'll see them maybe the next week, Thursday and Friday. So they really don't even have a gap.
Oh, nice.
So I try to work it out that way. Or, my clients, they know I travel. Some of them, they love that I travel. So
yeah.
They're always supportive, and it encourages them to travel too and take time off. So I never feel guilty for taking breaks or feel like they're not going to be able to manage certain things with a gap. So I think we both have an understanding of that.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. So I'm guessing your clients are pretty low acuity. Like mine are really, I call them easy clients, ones that can be super flexible and aren't going to have a ton of stuff going on. And is that kind of how your caseload is? Have you kind of worked it that way? Or
I mean, I think it fluctuates, but I have a lot of online resources, even courses or workbooks. So if it's going to be a gap, I'll say attend this Zoom, link that they have it 3 times a week, or, work on this workbook. We'll discuss it when I come back. So I always give them a tangible resource that is going to hold them accountable, and they have something as a point of contact therapy wise that's going to cover what they need during that time.
That's really smart. Yeah. So are these workbooks and things you've developed yourself, courses and things that you're putting out for your clients? Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So even if I see things in the Facebook groups where someone's advertising a course or a free meetup or things like that, I'll always share it with my clients just so they have more, resources outside of session regardless. So I'm always collecting resources, or, some people, they say, oh, I'm doing this group over the summer. I'll add it, to share with clients, or I'll share it on my own Facebook, just so clients have a variety of resources that they can utilize, throughout their journey.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. So you've created some content and share others. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of things have you created? I know the journal, and I want to talk about that too, for traveling, but what kinds of other resources for your clients have you created? What type of content?
So I started creating content in the pandemic because there was such like an influx and demand for therapy that it was very intense, to where I was like, I'm going to have to create things to delegate and, have more of an impact, having resources to give to people when they feel like there was a lot of insurance cuts and whatnot. So I just started creating resources like in the past couple of years. So I created workbooks, different types of journals. I launched a few courses like for relationships or building self-esteem, where I create little kind of one-page worksheets to where if I see like an influx of talking about the same thing, like a lot of people are talking about the same issue or problem, I'll see that, I'll create a worksheet and just give it to everybody. And so I'll do things like that, even just impromptu, and just create worksheets to give to people, or like digital downloads, just once I see the demand or things increasing. And I think that helps me, again, delegate, and it creates sustainability for the clients as well.
That's amazing. Yes. I'm always interested in this stuff because I love like multiple income streams and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So do you sell those also on a side note, or is it just stuff you create for your clients? Like, do you have like products for just anybody to buy if they want? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool.
Yeah. So both, but usually for my clients, I just give it to them. Or right. if I know their situation and it's not possible to purchase, I'll just create a promo code like just for them, and I'll say here's your promo code and you can go download it.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you primarily sell on your website, or do you have other places where you sell products? Like I sell on through Kartra and Teachable and Etsy. So I was just curious, do you use other platforms? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some are teacher related. So they're like teacher digital download websites, like education type websites. I haven't used Etsy. I'm curious to use it. I've used Teachable as well. So I included in other platforms. Or again, like some people might contact me and they say, can I add your resource to my website? And I say, sure. Like here's a link or whatnot. So it's on other platforms just based on that as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. Very awesome. So could you talk about the journal that you created? Because I saw it on Amazon and I actually put it on my traveling therapist storefront.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I just started because I thought it looked really cool. I was like, I'm going to share this because I want to share, resources for traveling therapists, So I wonder if you can talk about it a little bit, and I'll link to it also, everyone listening. I'll put it in the show notes so you guys can go check it out, but I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, so I wrote it traveling, and it is travel themed. It's very interactive. It's very colorful. Every page has color, and it's meant to be a 1-year interactive journal for self-development, for people coming out of a breakup, a life adjustment. There's a lot of things that I include in therapy in the book. So again, just not recreating the wheel and saying the same thing, so many times. I'll just redirect to the book. There's assessments in it, like attachment styles and Enneagram testing. So just things that I would include in therapy of getting to know yourself. A lot of men have bought it, married couples. So it's not really specific for a certain population. So some people might think it's for single women. It's completely gender neutral. It is pink. So that's why some people think it's for women. But most of my reviews are from men, actually, on Amazon. That's so cool. Men love the book, even though it's pink. But it's really beneficial for everyone. So a lot of even the steps that I would take in couples counseling, I include in the book. So again, if many of these steps were taken before marriage, we might not be having the same concerns that we do now. So once they kind of go back and kind of do these exercises, they can come back together, communicate better, and they get to know themselves, their partner much better as well.
Wow, that's amazing. And what's the name of the book again?
It's called Single Sabbatical.
Single Sabbatical. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess what I was looking at, I thought it was also for like single like travelers, like solo travelers, but it's more about what you're talking about, relationship styles and how to manage all that, whether you're in a relationship or not in a relationship.
Yeah. So I
That's
created
cool.
it specifically for singles, but like I said, everyone has benefited it from across
That's
the
cool.
board. So yeah, it's kind of, navigating through heartbreak, or because some people, once you get out of a relationship, some people jump right back in. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe we should get to know ourselves first, or what are some habits we don't want to repeat, or like just taking time for yourself to just reflect, navigate that time for yourself. And I think that was really heightened in the pandemic too.
Hmm. Yeah,
So I just created that to kind of navigate that season of just personal growth and development.
that's very cool. Yeah. Wow. Very cool. And are you a solo traveler or do you travel with a partner or are you doing all this on your own? Just curious about that.
A little bit of both. So I travel with different friends. I travel with a partner. I travel with my dogs. I travel with myself, or people. I've done group travel to where I've traveled with people I've never met before and made great friends through
Nice.
travel. I went to Mexico a few months ago, and me and 12 girls rented an Airbnb, and we stayed in the seashell house. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a house that
No.
is a seashell. And we never met each other. And they came from all around the world, and we just had a great time.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I've done really great trips like that too.
Wow.
Just meeting people from different cultures again and sharing a trip together.
How did that come about? I'm just so curious. Did you just, or were you like on an online group or something and decided to do it
Yeah,
together?
it was a Facebook
Wow.
group, and some girl said, I rented the seashell house, but I'd love to share it because it's like really hard to get
Wow.
reservations there. And she just happened to get one. So she said, there's room for 12 girls, and who wants to sign up? I was like, me.
Oh my
So everyone signed up independently. We all took different flights. Yeah,
gosh.
and we all showed up together.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to go look it up. The Seashell House in
It's
Mexico.
really cool. Yeah.
What part of Mexico was it in?
It's an island right off of Cancun. It's called
Really?
Isla Morales. Yeah.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
really
Oh,
small
I've been
island.
there. Yeah, I've been
Okay.
there.
Yeah, it's on there.
Oh, I think I've seen it. Now I know what you're talking about. Okay.
You
Oh my
might have.
gosh. Yeah. That's so cool. How fun is that? So you just
Yeah.
are really just kind of a free spirit, like whatever opportunities come up, you just kind of go and do and just go, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been on camping trips with people I never met. So I've done a
Wow.
lot of, yeah, different types of travel to, again, just building a community, meeting new people, and just having the same interests.
Very cool. That is amazing. So do you only see clients in your state of licensure, or are you seeing clients in other countries that maybe you pick up from the
No.
trafficking stuff or okay.
I used to, again, I used to do sex addiction classes online as well. They were from lots of different places, even different countries. But currently, I only have clients from my state of licensure. But
Okay.
yeah, in the past, I've seen people all around the world, and mostly that was addiction or human trafficking.
So was that more like in a coaching capacity, or was that definitely in the therapist capacity, like the way you were seeing the international clients?
As a therapist.
As a therapist. Oh, okay. So I always like to ask questions about that for the listeners. How did you navigate like regulations in other countries? Do you do some investigation up front around licensure and like if you could see the clients in those countries? Just curious, like how you navigated that part of it.
Yeah, so I do have an addictions license as well. So that kind of has different regulations too. So again, I think it's just trying to figure out, yeah, what's all the regulations around each one. And then if I'm partnered with different organizations and, they're covered in a different way and that sort of thing is how it's been manageable. But I think
really
again, it's interesting. Yeah, about, people in different countries, they see substance abuse differently. There's things that are illegal here in the US that are not illegal in other countries. Same in other countries, prostitution is legal or certain substances are legal, to where again, it's just very different navigating that as a therapist too.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah. Yeah. You don't really think about that all the time. Like culturally, if you're going to see people in other countries, you really need to pay attention to that stuff, you know? Like,
Right. Yeah. Because even in
yeah.
Africa, I mean, they were married at like 7 years old. They were married at 12 years old.
Wow.
We don't allow that here. So again, it's just navigating the therapeutic experience and respecting, people's culture as well. Because
Yeah.
we might think, oh, this is a DCF call. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, this is just their culture. This is not something that is considered illegal or wrong in this particular place.
Wow, that is so interesting. Has that ever been hard for you as a therapist to kind of switch off, what we believe is right or wrong and like work with those different cultures around that stuff? Like a 7-year-old being married, is
Yeah.
that tough to navigate? Or is it just like therapist brain kicks in and you're just like, nope, this is a different culture and I'm just gonna work with it the way
I
it is?
think it's just in therapy in general. I mean, for me, like just meeting the client where they're at.
Yeah.
And so if that's where they're at, and that's like, again, of course, you're not going to call DCF like on someone in Africa
Right.
or things like
Right.
that. But again, just they're usually sharing or asking questions. Like they might ask, well, what do you think I should do? Or things like that. So again, it's just responding in a therapeutic way and meeting their needs just based on where they're at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you're right. And it's seems like it'd be hard. I don't know, to say, oh, well, just try to make it work with your husband. You're 7. That would be so difficult.
Yeah, it's the same with the trafficking.
I bet.
Many times they want to stay with the trafficker. They want to go back. They want to go back, and it's just explaining. They don't understand sometimes that what they're doing is illegal. Or same with labor trafficking. Their conditions here are still better than where they came from. But they're not being paid. They're not having, they're still being coerced in some way to maintain labor in not good circumstances. But again, to them, it's like, it's fine. I don't even know why you came here. You can leave now. It's like, this is actually not fine. But it's, just educating and getting to, but they can choose, to stay. But yeah, there's a lot of just mindset blocks and red tape to navigate through. So again, cultural things tie into that and lots of different things.
So interesting. Wow. So if anybody wants to work with you, how would they reach out to you? Because it sounds like you help clinicians. Do you help clinicians navigate this stuff too? Or is it more on the client side? So what all do you offer? I'm just so curious for people listening in case they want to reach out to you, learn more about this stuff.
Yeah. So for clinicians, I do offer like clinician consultations. So I do that usually for new graduates or people just getting licensed, or they're looking to have different experiences. Maybe like you're saying, they've seen in my bio, or they're looking to start a private practice and it's overwhelming. Lots of different reasons. But yeah, I do provide clinician consultations just again to consult with clinicians to see where they want to go, where they want to be, and work on their goals and getting there. And any insight, I can provide through that consultation. Some people just come once and they're like, you told me everything I need to know. This has been great. And I'm like, great. If we can resolve everything in one session, like that's the way I love to do things, even with clients. So I'm always about just rapid results and getting you where you want to be in the fastest way possible. So
very cool. Yeah. So what is your website and I'll put it in the show notes too for everybody listening, but what is your website if people want to reach out to you?
Finding Hope Today is my main website. I have a few different links, so I included them in the bio.
Okay.
But yeah, Finding Hope Today is where most people contact me. Or if you don't find what you're looking for, you can always email me and we can set something up. But most people find me through that main website, and that shares everything about me or what services I offer for clients or clinicians.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being a guest. I really appreciate it. I just think your story is so interesting, and I hope it inspires other people to think outside of the box a little bit and see everything that you can do and how you can incorporate that into traveling. I think it's amazing. Really cool. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I agree.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the Traveling Therapist podcast. For show notes, links, and downloads, head over to thetravelingtherapist.com,
where you'll be able to learn more about my journey, the courses I've created for you, and other exciting resources to make your dreams become a reality. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your traveling therapist friends, subscribe to the podcast, and if you love this episode, please leave a review.